In this video, we're going to be finishing up our KILLTEAM gaming board. So it's a good project. I'll just say that. I'm really happy with this. In the last video, we went through design, construction, and priming of the board. This week, we're just going to talk about everything else that happened up to the end. One of the first things that I did with the board was I actually flipped it over and covered the back with sheets of EVA foam, just for padding and just so that it doesn't get scratched up or anything like that. Just something nice and soft, especially as I get more of these. I'm probably going to lean them up against each other. I don't want them rubbing the paint off, so that was just a security thing. I was staring at the board and I saw that it was really shiny and kind of hard to see under my regular studio lights, so I ended up dry brushing it with a matte black paint just for visibility. On the roads and metallic areas, I painted on a sea gray, really just a cool gray color, just to start pushing the board towards a cool color. When you're dealing with concrete and dirt and things like that, it's really easy to go very warm colors, and I want something much cooler in that cool spectrum of colors. So this was kind of rooting me in the spot. A lot of it gets covered later, but it was an important step for me mentally. After that, using a slightly lighter gray color, I started airbrushing some volumes across the concrete areas just to kind of add some variation. Really, it was just a big soft round dot that went in 1, 2, or 4 squares just to create some depth that I could layer on top of. You'll see what I mean in a minute. I went in and started pushing the brightness of these sidewalk blocks because I wanted them to be a brighter value than the roads themselves, just for some differentiation. Not too much, because I wanted the board to kind of be able to shift and change based on the terrain that you put on it, but just for a visual difference, that's what I felt was important. I did a diagonal dry brush on the outer edges of the concrete pieces, and this really started to layer up with that pre-shading that I had done before and creating visual interest across the entire set of pieces. Each one became a little bit different, a little bit varied, and really added to the overall effect. I stippled and overbrushed, roughly, metallic paint all over the metal pieces. I did a lighter white dry brush on the cement edges just to help begin to get them to differentiate. Along each of the concrete blocks, I lined it with an international blue. It's basically a dull blue color. I did this across the entire board, obviously by hand. It took a while, but I immediately started liking the effect that it gave. I added gold to the platform trim along the top. While that was drying, I added basically a layer of muck on top of all the metallics. Now when I say muck, what I usually do is I will take the colors on my wet palette and just blend them all together, and it gives me this yucky brown. I just mixed a little metallic paint with that and just smeared it on. I wasn't going for full coverage, I was going for more of a broad blotchy effect. I added Agrax Earthshade to all the gold elements. I did this in a couple passes and let it dry, and I went back and forth with more gold, more Agrax Earthshade, just trying to find the right balance of shiny versus dark. On the dirt, I applied Rhinox Hide, followed by a very spotty layering of Mornfang Brown. Oh boy, this is the favorite part. I did a heavy brown oil wash across the entire thing, let that dry for about a half hour, and then I took makeup sponges and just slowly wiped it off panel by panel, making sure that I still kept a good amount on there, but didn't let it pool in areas where it wasn't really going to do anything positive, I guess you would say. After that, I broke up my makeup detailing brushes. It seems really funny to be using makeup brushes, but they really are my favorite brushes for dry brushing and general soft details overall. With the tiniest brush, I went around the corners of many of the cement pieces and added a ghost gray light dry brush along, again, the edges and on some of the bolts. With a larger makeup brush, I stippled in some plain silver paint on select areas of the metallic parts to give them a dented, scraped up feel. With a small dry brush, I went and dabbed it in Mornfang brown and just dry brushed in on any areas that had a little bit of grit on them that was an otherwise flat area. And this really just helped push the sense of dirt. And with that, this board is done. It's time for the beauty shots. This board probably cost me, in materials, about $30 to $40. If you compare that with a Games Workshop kit for something about this size, it's pretty expensive. You're looking around $80 if it's something like the Necromunda set. And I couldn't be happier with the energy, time, and money in and the product out. I feel like this board does so much. When you start setting the board down, adding terrain, adding guys, throw in some light, the effect of this is really amazing. It feels epic. What you're seeing on the screen right now is what I want my battle reports to look like. High contrast, colorful, beautiful, great painted miniatures. I really want to push and get that sense that this is a real place, this is really what's going on, and tell the story of what happens in these battles. So as you can probably tell, I'm really happy with this board. I'm going to make at least 3 more of them, maybe 4. This one has some problems with it structurally, and I don't know what I'm going to do with this board in the long term. At minimum, I'll be using it for beauty shots for sure, but I just can't wait to get going. In order to start doing some of the battle reports that I've been talking about, I'm going to need to go in and finish painting up various buildings, scatter terrain, things like that. And I don't know if I want to do that on camera or not. It's kind of boring to me to watch. Maybe it might be interesting from a weathering perspective. I think if I take it from that point of view, it might be good video material. We'll see. I am hankering to do a unit again. It feels like it's been forever, and I just need to paint something small. I've been focusing on something so big, I just need to focus in a little bit. So, I'm not sure what that's going to look like. I'm not sure what the next video is going to be. I hope you enjoyed this one. I sure did. If you like this video, leave a like. If you're watching this video and you think that this is cool, please hit that subscribe button and the bell. I try and put out content pretty regularly. A lot of the content is governed by the size of the project that I'm working on and the outside pressures of work and family and commitments and lack of sleep. Most of the work that I do is between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. on all this work, and I just generally function without sleep. I'm doing it because I love it. It's so much fun. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Synthetic Black. We'll catch you next time.